been so long since we've done a podcast, and I've already forgotten how we did them.
Hello, is that acceptable?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey people.
Hello listeners.
Podcast people.
I'm tired. I woke up 20 minutes ago and got dressed to come here. It's about 5 p.m. for context.
Yeah, it's 5:15.
Yeah.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!
It's a slow start to January. January's always the worst month.
Yeah.
But welcome to our 4th episode. I've already forgotten.
Don't stop numbering them.
I'm sorry.
It's not going to work. Welcome to our podcast.
Just our podcast.
That will remain numberless.
So they live in an eternal present. So we're doing our best films and best TV
because it's the
of
new
2017. Because that's what people do.
Yeah.
When it's a New Year's, you make lists of things.
How was your New Year, Grace? I've deliberately not asked you. And your Christmas.
so that we could use it as a podcast intro.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've kind of just continued on, only vaguely recognising the change in date. So
did you stay up and wait
no,
for New Year?
I did not. I completely forgot it was New Year until I was woken up at like midnight.
It's probably
and then I remembered.
For the best, honestly. Yeah. It's a bit of a faff.
And then I had like my notification noises coming in of people saying Happy New Year. I was like, oh yeah. And then I went back to sleep.
You're such a recluse.
Yeah. How was yours? Did you stay up?
I did stay up. It was fine. New Year's is always fine. I think people build it up and then it's you count to zero and nothing happens because it feels the same.
Okay, we're just going to go to bed then. That was our exciting New Year's discussion. Did you make any New Year's resolutions? I never bother with those.
I don't normally bother, no. I think you just set yourself up for failure. Yeah.
Exactly. It's best to just admit
I don't know what
that
it would
you're
be.
not going to change now and not be disappointed.
Yeah. I started doing things that it's not really a resolution because I did always used to do these things and then just in the month or so before Christmas because it was crazy and busy I stopped. So like drinking water and going to the gym. Yeah. So that's stuff that Megan does do that stuff normally. She just didn't for a month or so.
Yeah. It's like it just peters off throughout the year. Like you start off each year.
Just need a bit of a reboot.
Yeah. Drinking water, doing exercise, eating vegetables. And then just gradually it starts to fall off around May. And then it just gets worse.
Quite quickly.
Yeah. Feel like I do pretty well up until May, and then it's the summer, and it's like, oh no.
I'm so ready for summer.
And then by the time it gets to December, I'm just sort of rolling to places instead of walking and eating crisps.
Yeah, I decided I'm really ready for summer. I'm over the cold. Megan has decided cold is done
Winter
now.
needs to end now.
That's got old.
It's too dark all the time. It's too cold.
I'd like some vitamin D and to not be chilly. I think I've just been chilly since about late August.
Yeah. So, on with our topic. Do you want to do films first or TV?
I don't mind.
I think we have more TV things.
I think I maybe have more film things, but I don't know. It could just be however it is.
Actually, I have about the same for both. I felt like I had more TV things. I think I whittled down more TV things, whereas the film things were just kind of, this is all the things that I've seen.
I kind of felt like when I was thinking of stuff, I thought of more films, but I'm sure there is more TV, because I do watch more TV than films. You'll probably say a load of things that I'll forget.
Be like, oh yeah. I just looked over the Guardian's lists because they had like the top 50. Yeah. It's like chances are everything that I've seen will be on these lists. There may be things I've forgotten. My list surfing was pretty extensive, so I shouldn't have forgotten things.
Yeah, the Guardian upset you though because they didn't.
They did upset me
in the order that you wanted. I remember you telling me.
They just disappointed me all around. I think TV wise everything was on there. It was just all in a completely different order to how I would have had it.
What was their number one? The
Handmaid's Tale.
Handmaid's Tale. I can't imagine that being number one.
I was happy for it to be on the list somewhere because there's 50 things on the list. It was going to be in the top. It was definitely one of the top 50 things that happened this year in TV. But
it was fine. I watched the first couple of episodes.
10. It's not on my top 10.
I
didn't finish it.
I gave up pretty quick.
I gave up before the final episode. I watched everything in the last one, and the last one just never happened. I was like, no, I can't get through this. I had several friends who really wanted me to watch it, and I think that's what kept me going for so long. Because it was exciting to be able to talk about something with people who have also seen the thing. But then it was just too much. There were other things I wanted to watch.
Yeah, I've been not great at watching TV this year. I say I've watched loads of TV. I haven't really.
If you rewatched?
I've rewatched stuff.
A lot of old stuff.
I didn't have a laptop for ages, so I had no way of sitting and Netflixing. So I've been a bit limited in what I'm able to.
Yeah, whereas I got Netflix
stream
in the summer of last year. And I think that's where all my TV has come from this year. There's a lot of Netflix things on my list. I just binge watched everything that was on Netflix while I was animating. So should we start with TV?
Yeah.
It just feels right to start with TV. I don't know why.
Okay.
Let's start with TV. I have 5 honourable mentions. Do you have honourable mentions for TV?
No.
I'll just list my honourable mentions. I don't really have much to say about them. But Rick and Morty had a new season this year, which was
I
good.
need to watch that. Literally everyone I know.
On Netflix. It's so good. It was as good as all the other
It's a
series.
Halloween party last year. Feels weird to call it last year.
I know. Last year.
And there was somebody as left-handed Morty and somebody as
there's
evil Morty.
so many,
Is that a
many
thing?
different iterations of Rick and Morty. Yeah, there's like endless Halloween costume possibilities.
Yeah, I feel like this has been the year
You
of
could
Rick
have
and
like
Morty.
a group of people, and you could all go as the same character and just be different versions
Yeah,
of that
well,
character.
it was 2 friends of mine.
Yeah.
We went to this party together as 2 different Mortys.
Yeah, I'd say this series wasn't as funny as the previous series had been, but it was more. Some of the things were more interesting, and it was more like plot and character driven. So it was like different emphasis. It was controversial among fans.
Oh.
I thought it was just as good as the other series, but
I
in
think
different ways.
it can't be doing that badly because
Yeah.
everyone...
I think it's still
anyone
like
is
people still
talking
liked
about
it. It's just in terms of whether people preferred this series and to the previous stuff or the previous stuff to this season.
I feel I
It was
never
a bit
heard about
different.
it until about September, and then every single
And then
person I knew...
everyone was. I think that's when the new series came out.
Okay.
It was everywhere. Another honorable mention is One Mississippi, which is a
what's that?
comedy. It's on Amazon Prime. Don't have much to say about that other than it's good and it's funny and I recommend it.
Okay.
I feel like that's going to be a lot of my honorable mentions is just that. Because Back was the comedy from David Mitchell and Robert Webb that was on Channel 4 this year. That was very good, about someone whose old adopted sibling reappears, but maybe it's not them. It's all very ambiguous even up until the last episode, but there's a new series coming.
So is that a drama? That sounds like a drama.
It's a
but
comedy. So it's
Okay.
like a dark comedy. It's good.
That sounds good. I like those guys. Although
A lot of things on my list of comedies.
I've still
is what I
never
watch a
seen
lot of.
Peep Show.
Yeah.
Which I need to.
Inside Number 9, which the new series of is airing now. If I think any other series, it would have been on my top 10 list, but I just felt Series 3 last year was a bit weaker than the other series, but still very good. And I just wanted to mention it because it's one of my favourite shows as a whole.
I've been told by people.
And it was
that's
I think
my
they're
sense of
all
humour.
still on the iPlayer like every season.
And I need to get
But
on
who
it.
knows for how long, because the iPlayer is very fickle about these things. But there's 2 episodes that have aired this year of Series 4 have been really good. So maybe if I do a list next year of best 2018 TV, this might make the list next year.
Make the cut.
It's difficult. I found it difficult to differentiate different series of things, and especially if I watched all of it last year, to be like, well, technically only this series counted for this year.
That's the problem now when you can binge everything.
Yeah, so I'm trying to like categorize things by season, and then Glow is my other honorable mention, which is the Netflix series about female wrestling in the 80s, and it's really good. It's just a lot of like hairspray and spandex.
Well, that sounds like things
delightful.
I'm interested in. So
Yeah, it was really good. I
Oh
wasn't
my
even
God.
interested in female wrestling. I wasn't interested in wrestling at all. I never really thought about it, and now I'm like kind of into wrestling because of this show. And I get really defensive. They're like, since watching Glow, like I've heard several comments about wrestling not being a sport. I'm like, well, it's not. Like, EastEnders isn't a sport. It's like, we have to categorize everything as sports. It's like a show.
the only thing I know about
It's a
wrestling was
performance.
the Louis Theroux episode where he...
Yeah, that was my
business.
only previous knowledge of wrestling, where that argument comes up about it not being a sport. I don't like sports.
God, this
so-
whole thing is just going to be me saying, oh yeah, I need to watch that.
It's like my lists are like all the things that I've just been telling you to watch all year.
Some of them I managed.
Some
It's just
of
so many
them
things.
you've now seen Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, which is of course on my list. So number 10. How many did you have for TV?
Only like 5.
Letting the team down.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I have more than enough things, so it kind of works out well. So should I go up to number 6 and then we can alternate our top 5?
Yeah, just tell me
when
when
you
to,
come
when
in,
to talk.
when to pitch in. So number 10 was the anniversary 3-part special of The League of Gentlemen that aired just before Christmas and did not make it on many people's lists because I feel like a lot of the news outlets jumped the gun on their best TV lists, and so this came out still in 2017, but after everyone had made their lists. So it's like in a hinterland of best of lists where it won't qualify for next year, but it was too late for last year.
I'm pleased it made the list though, because I didn't watch it because I still haven't finished League of Gentlemen. I watched it this year.
Yeah,
for the first time.
Most of it is like callbacks to the original series.
I probably have. I can't remember when I stopped watching it. I probably am most of the way through it, but I'm liking it a lot. But
It's
I thought I wouldn't watch that until I'd finished the old episodes.
Yeah, finish the old series first.
Tubbs is still there.
First. Yes.
Breastfeeding the pigs.
Eating an onion as if it were an apple.
Oh God.
that was my number 10. Number 9, I have Alias Grace, which is a Netflix series, which is another Margaret Atwood adaptation, and I feel far better than The Handmaid's Tale. And yet it's been left off a lot of lists. I don't know if, again, it aired a bit late. I think it came out in November, like the end of November. And some lists were already out in November, which is just preposterous. The Guardian started their list in November. It's like, what are you doing? It's November. Wait until January. Everyone should do their lists in January. There should be a rule. But that was very good. Mostly just good writing. There's sort of a twist, kind of, that I saw coming, but then forgot about until it happened. So I kind of called it in episode 2, then forgot about it. And then it came back in the last episode. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot. I thought that was probably going to happen. So it still works.
Oh, that's nice.
And the writing was really good. I feel like it's better as a piece of feminist media than The Handmaid's Tale was, even though maybe like The Handmaid's Tale just kind of hits you over the head with its feminism a bit too much.
Yeah, that's its main purpose.
Whereas this,
if you're setting something in a patriarchal dystopian future, it's going to be a bit more.
Yeah, I
in your face.
Although I did like the book. It's been a long time since I read the book, but I feel like setting it in this kind of exaggerated future kind of undermines its message a little bit.
Yeah, I think it comes
Whereas
across...
Alias Grace is much more real.
It comes across better in a book because you're just reading this one woman's thoughts in this world, whereas when you have to actually make a TV show and build this world and cast people as all these people and have them running around and talking and doing things, it's just a bit heavy. Yeah,
and they put in stuff that wasn't in the book that I felt detracted from it a bit, like the whole thing with her husband. And it made it less of a singular perspective, which was something that I liked about the book.
Barely anything happens in the book.
Yeah.
Because she can't do anything. All she kind of does is sit in her room all day and think.
Which then meant they had to do the voiceover thing to try and get that into the show. I'm not... Even though Alias Grace does also rely heavily on the voiceover, but it worked in a way that I thought it didn't work in The Handmaid's Tale. So this has just turned into us talking about how we don't like The Handmaid's Tale. But Alias Grace is very good, and I think more people should watch it. It seems like people haven't watched it. People should watch it and shut up about Handmaid's Tale. Number 8, I have Motherland, which I think is another thing people didn't see that much. But it was on the BBC in around November again, which is just a group of mothers trying to deal with life. It's a comedy. I should start with the genre. It's a comedy. I
have no idea what this is.
It's really good. Don't think it's on the iPlayer now, but it might be because they put up a lot of stuff over Christmas to try and compete with Netflix, so it might still be on there. But that was very good. Just again very funny. There was a joke about Tumblr that was my favorite joke of the whole of the year. I put that as my top joke because I understood it so well. But there's a character who's, I don't know how to describe them, but like the sort of person who would definitely be on Tumblr, but like as an adult, that they're just a bit behind the times, but they want to be relevant, and they're just a very nice person, and just they're trying to get along with everyone, but they're a bit annoying.
It sounds tragic.
And then there's a bit on their answering phone message where they're talking about other ways to contact them, and they're like, send me a message on my Tumblr. And it was just so outdated and useless.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of me now, though. I'm in my 20s,
yeah, it's like
I still do go on my Tumblr.
Yeah, I still go on Tumblr multiple times a day. I think Tumblr is the social media I use the most.
Exactly, and it's not really it was never the happening social media place.
It seems like maybe it was more at one point, because I thought it was always kind of on the sidelines. But I've been listening to podcasts from like 2015, and a lot of people are talking about their Tumblrs. So it's like maybe it was more of a thing in 2015, which was around probably when I joined. That's why I appreciated that joke so much.
Pretty pictures.
Number 7 is American Vandal, which is another Netflix series that's a mockumentary about some graffiti that was left at a school, and there's like one obvious suspect of who it almost definitely is, but he said he didn't do it, and then it's the AV club doing their own investigation.
That sounds adorable.
It is, to try and prove his innocence, and it is adorable. Adorable is a good word for it, because it's like a little group of people who don't really know what they're doing, and they're just kind of putting their foot in it everywhere. It's great. It was a lot better than I was expecting it to be, because I was expecting it to be like, oh, I guess this will be like a fun thing to watch while I'm doing other things, and it's quite funny, and then as it goes on, it's like, this is really good. This is like one of the best things I've seen in a long time. So another thing I highly recommend. Number 6. Am I on number 6? Yes. Mindhunter. Another Netflix series. You can tell I got Netflix this year. Like, everything is Netflix.
The year of Netflix.
It is. Was I guess drama. Drama always seems like such a vague genre, but I guess drama. Set in the 80s, like so many things this year. The year of Netflix, the year of the 80s, of the FBI doing research into serial killers to try and create profiles that they can use to catch other serial killers.
I like serial killers. I should watch this.
I mean, kind of, I guess half a true story, because it's like based on real interviews with serial killers, and the serial killers were real people. But I'm not sure to what extent the FBI people were based on real people. I know it's based on a book. I did like vague research into this after I watched it to be like, is this true? Kind of, maybe. I don't know. That's the end of my Googling on this. But it was based on a book. The serial killers are real. I think maybe the FBI people aren't real, but are based on real things that happened. And it had a very good final episode and a very good climax, when the main character becomes like less and less likable throughout the series. Like, they start off being very likable, and then, you know, the job gets to them. They become more and more psychopathic as the series goes on. And I felt like I didn't like them at the end, but then, you know, they're in peril in the final episode, and I was really afraid that something bad might happen to them. I was like, oh, I do still like this character.
It kind of sounds like Hannibal or something. Why can't these people who have jobs catching serial killers...
No, just be normal people.
Just be normal.
The other guy is a very nice, normal person.
I'd be okay. Why are they always...
He's older. He's just kind of... He's kind of like that archetype of the retired policeman who's like, oh, I was just one job away from retirement. He maintains a normal personality. So then I am up to number 5. So do you want to do your number 5?
Well, I didn't number them. I just kind of... I
changed my numbering around.
I don't want to pit them against each other. So I guess I'll do the one that I have least to say about, which I think will be Outlander.
Do an impromptu numbering.
Just because I hadn't fully watched it yet, because I kind of petered off watching it, which is a shame because I was enjoying it. I'm not really sure why I stopped. So... Obviously,
I do that sometimes.
Outlander is about a woman who, sounds really stupid when you describe it, falls through a hole in time and ends up in Scotland like 200 years ago, and ends up married to a Highlander man. And at the end of the last series, she has to go back to the present day England. Well, not present day, because she is from the 1940s, but she has to go back to her time and leave him behind, and there's the Battle of Culloden. And it's all very sad. And then this series was following their lives after that, after she's left him and then she's returned to...
So in their alternate timelines.
In their alternate timelines, exactly. And I think, the first half of it was really good before they'd met up, just following them through the years. So he has this really tough time, and he goes to prison for a bit, and he's living in the forest because he's on the run. And the way they handled Battle of Culloden, I think, was really genuinely affecting. And I definitely cried. It was, I was a mess. But then I feel like after they had them meet up again, it just kind of lost its momentum. So there's a bit where she eventually decides she's going to go back and see him, because I think she assumes he's been dead this whole time, that he would have died in Culloden, and then she stumbles across some historical reference to the fact that he's still alive. So she goes back to see him, and then it just kind of hit a wall for me. And I will go along and watch the rest of it at some point, but I don't know. I was enjoying the lots of plot things that were happening with English prisons and battles and
it's all gone.
And intrigue, and then her in the 60s being a doctor and all that fun stuff, and then planning to go back and trying to find out where he was. And there was a really fun montage where she's sewing herself a historically accurate dress so that she can run with the Batman theme tune playing, and it was quite surreal, but it was a cool moment.
Those aren't things that I expect from a show called Outlander. You've explained it to me before, and then I forgot what it was about, and I was like, oh yeah, I was wrong last time. It just seemed like a normal sort of period drama thing. It's like, oh no, there's all this time travel shit going on.
Well, yeah, I think that's the thing, is that the previous series, the time travel thing wasn't in your face too much, because she travels back in the first episode, and that's it, and then you're there. Yeah, exactly. And now, as soon as it started to interact a little bit more, it was a bit...
Yeah.
Just
and as soon as you bring, like, proper time travel into things, you end up, like, with loopholes and... like changing things, and you're like, well, wouldn't she have changed stuff in the past that would have affected the future?
Yeah, I really liked the historical stuff that they handled. I thought that was really interesting, and it was much more a character study as well, because it was just how would you cope with the trauma that they've gone through and following them through that. And a lot of it was very sad, and it was done in a very interesting way, I think, where it was definitely very engaging, but then it was suddenly like, oh yeah, time travel. Yeah. Remember? That was a thing. Yeah.
This was a thing, not just a period drama. I think it's interesting that it's got a period drama with that time travel element. That was the one thing that interested me in Westworld, is being a Western with a sci-fi element, or a sci-fi with a Western element.
I haven't seen that.
It's like it's like an equal mesh of the two genres, which isn't something other than the original film Westworld is not something that I'd seen before, and that was why I watched it. And it was alright. I mostly liked it for the sci-fi Western, just the genre that it was. I'm like, that's a cool idea, and it got me through the whole series. Yeah. Well, sometimes all you need and is I'm considering watching idea. Series 2 when it comes out. So is that everything you want to say about Outlander? I think so. I debated even putting it on the list, because I just kind of fell off watching it. Yeah. But I remember being really into it. It was really good, and then it disappointed you, and now it's like, I don't even know if it disappointed me. I just kind of went, oh, I'm over this now. But I'm sure I will go back to it, because I do like it a lot. Yeah. Sometimes I start watching something and then I go back to it, and then I like it even more. I went to Scotland this year, and I went on a tour of the Highlands, and they took us to different locations from Outlander and stuff. So it was really interesting, and I learned about the Scottish history. Capitalising on tourism. Yeah, oh my god, there was Outlander colouring books. You wouldn't believe. It's a phenomenon. Is Outlander the thing that Paula talks about in Crazy Ex-Girlfriend? Yes. Yeah. Yes, it is. And then I messaged you being like, this is why Paula is you. Oh, I like Paula, but I don't know if I want to be Paula. It's just that one specific thing. So my number 5 was The Good Place, which is another thing that I've told you to watch multiple times. Oh, so many people have told me to watch The Good Place. I'm so sorry. There's so much TV I need to watch. I have a job. And so little time. But anyway, The Good Place is very good. And I also watched the first series last year. So again, I'm finding it difficult to differentiate between Series 1 and Series 2, and technically only Series 2 came out last year, but I'm counting it as one thing. Because I hadn't heard anything about it until I found it on a list on, I think Rotten Tomatoes did a list of this many things to binge watch this month, and it was on there because the new series was coming out, which I didn't know at the time. And that was when I watched it, and like up until the final episode I was like, oh yeah, this is good, I'm enjoying this. And then the last episode was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And I think that's possibly where all the hype has come from for Series 2, because now it's on like everyone's lists and everyone's talking about it. The podcasts I listen to were doing Halloween, like Good Place themed Halloween costumes. Oh my god. Well, it's become a juggernaut. Is it? I've heard people say it's similar to Parks and Recreation, or is that not true? I mean, it's not my first choice of a comparison. I guess in its humour style, in that I'd say there's like, it's not hugely funny all of the time, but they're just very likeable characters, which is also how I felt about Parks and Rec. I'm definitely down to watch it because my degree is in theology and religious studies, so the whole concept is interesting. Yeah, like all of the philosophy stuff. And the only thing I saw from it, and this is before I'd even heard of The Good Place, I just saw this on Tumblr and thought it was funny, it was the gift set where this girl is saying, who died and left Aristotle in charge of ethics? And the guy says, Plato. And that was such a niche joke. Yes. I was like, oh, yeah, he did. That's exactly what happened. Yes. Yeah, it's great. But the premise in general is the main character. I guess the main character. It's one of the things where you start off with the main character and then it becomes more of an ensemble. But the beginning main character has just died and has gone to the good place, which is it's kind of like the good place and the bad place. It's kind of like heaven and hell, but just like an afterlife where there's a good place and a bad place. But quickly realises that they've been put in the wrong place and that they should have gone to the bad place, but because of a technical error have ended up in the good place in place of somebody else. Oh. And then tries to cover it up with the help of Chidi, who's the person in the gift set who's the philosopher who's trying to teach you how to be a good person. And then it's just wacky hijinks ensue, and it's great. And then everything changes at the end of the first series. That is my number 5. What's your number 4?
Okay, well, you're making me number them. It's stressing me out. I hadn't numbered them.
I could just name one. I was going to not number them, and then today I numbered them because I should probably number them. I should have given you a heads up that I was numbering.
You did this on purpose to make me look underprepared. This isn't necessarily my order, just we've got to talk about Game of Thrones at some point. Yeah. I feel like
you can't talk about TV and not talk about Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
I haven't seen any. I've seen little bits of a few episodes. But
you're not into
actually seen it
at all. But
fantasy is not my genre.
People are going to be listening to a podcast, Best TV of 2017. They're going to be expecting Game of Thrones. And we're not going to get any more now until 2019, I think.
Oh, okay.
We've heard, which is a shame. But yeah, it was good, the most recent series. It wasn't as good, I think, as previous series. They're really
I think I heard
kind of floundering now because they're ahead of the books. So I think they've been given a vague outline.
Talk of the author screwing them over by killing off somebody who they haven't killed off.
I didn't hear that.
I don't know.
I heard
maybe that was a rumour.
He told them the basic plan in case he died before he wrote it. Because George is getting on a bit. Yeah, you can tell they're floundering a bit. It's just not as expertly crafted in terms of plot as everyone was making fun of the fact that something time travel or light speed or teleportation seems to now be a thing in Westeros, because in series 1 you had some characters go from the north to King's Landing, which is in the south, and it took them at least 2 episodes, I think, of them on the road. And then there was an episode where it was
just walking.
they were in the far north over the wall, and then they sent a raven, and then that raven went even further south, and then somebody got that, and then just of the raven they flew flying back, and then this all happened in the space of obviously I think it was supposed to be a couple of days maybe, but it was really bizarre. People just popping up everywhere. What? Yeah. I think somebody drew a graph of
trying to cobble together a series.
Somebody drew a map where they drew on the different paths everyone's taken and kind of pointed out how stupid it was and how
just wandering around.
How fast is everybody moving?
I feel like Game of Thrones is probably a series where it's difficult to differentiate this series from the rest of the show.
Yeah,
I haven't watched it.
It was still good though, and in some ways it kind of, I'm willing for them to sacrifice the believability of how long it takes people to get everywhere, if that means stuff actually happens.
That's not something that I'm really bothered about, the suspension of disbelief. Sometimes there's little things that'll be no, I'm done with this now, I can't believe that. And there'll be really randomly small specific things when there's been much more glaring faults of reality. But in general, I'm not bothered by
it has kind of been good because we've had some really good stuff. So the dragons have been incredible. They've always made the dragons look amazing. And we had some dragons blowing stuff up and setting people on fire. That was good.
Which I feel should be the best part of the show.
Yeah.
If I was watching Game of Thrones, it would be for the dragons. It was great.
Else. We got to have characters meeting each other that hadn't met before, and that was fun. Yeah, I think it would be a weird series to jump in on because it's when Jon Snow and Daenerys met. That was people with bated breath watching the TV.
Are they related or something?
Yes, you find out.
I know vague things about.
We should tag this for spoilers for Game of Thrones because people are going to get annoyed if they haven't seen it. But hey, the series has been out for ages now. R plus L equals J was confirmed, which was a really prevalent fan theory that Jon Snow is actually a Targaryen, and it was confirmed. But I really like the way they did it because everyone, there's kind of a ship war thing going on where lots of people are going, oh my god, Jon Snow is ice and Daenerys is fire, and that's why it's a song of ice and fire, and they're gonna get married and have dragons and save the world.
Dragon babies.
Yeah, exactly. And I hope it's not going to be like that because that sounds really boring. But they were clearly putting Jon and Daenerys together as a couple, but I don't think that's the path they're going, because the way they chose to reveal his parentage was in the last episode. The sex scene between Jon and Daenerys, over it you had the character revealing the exposition about who Jon's parents were, so it turned the whole scene into a really creepy thing.
Yeah.
And this is where I get to my main point about Game of Thrones, this series, which is it's kind of at risk of doing the Sherlock thing, where if it's doing what I think it's doing, it's really clever and it's going to pay off really well and be really good TV. But if it's not, It's screwed. So I
It's gonna
think
be a shit
I
show,
think Jon Snow is
like Sherlock was.
exactly, yeah. I remember being like, oh, maybe something really clever's happening,
Yeah.
and we're really intelligent, and there's this.
You just keep watching and thinking, but surely this is all like building up to something really clever.
Yeah,
And it's just not.
because there was the basis for this is that there was a plot line where Arya and Sansa, who are two sisters, like they've been through so much trauma, and then they finally got reunited in this episode, and they started like fighting and not trusting each other and kind of lying, and this other character was manipulating them to try and get them to fall out, and it was really frustrating to watch, and it was really stupid, and you had them arguing, and then finally it was revealed in a really good moment that they had been working together all along, and they knew what he was doing, and they like played along to set up this guy and kill Littlefinger, and it was really awesome, and they like cut his throat and there was blood everywhere, and it was great. Women being pals and
Gals being pals
and taking down gross pervy men together, which was the best thing. But I'm kind of getting this sense maybe that's like a taster of the whole plot line as a whole, because I think the Jon Daenerys thing, if they're just going to make them be like, oh yeah, we love each other, that's gross. But I think Jon Snow, my theory is Jon Snow's playing the game and he's just toying with Daenerys' emotions. And
I thought Jon Snow was a good character.
I think he is a good character, but you've got to make the decisions. When you play the
Sometimes
Game of Thrones,
bad
Grace, you have to do shady things. Also, I think Daenerys is slowly slipping off the edge of the map. And, well, literally here there be dragons, but I think she's going to be the baddie. I'm doing inverted commas because nobody's really the baddie, but I think
air quotes.
I think she'd be crazy and she'd be burning people alive. And she's not listening to Tyrion. I think that's her issue. She
that's
seems
the sort of thing I'd like to see.
Acknowledge that she has a tendency to go a bit mad, like her relations, because she's so inbred. She acknowledges that she has the tendency to burn innocent people, so she tries to surround herself with advisors who will tell her not to do that, which is a nice thing for her to do. But then on all the crucial moments, she's like, "Shut up, Tyrion! I want to set them on fire." Anyway,
it's too late already.
So it was good. We had some really good scenes. Everything was superbly acted by everyone. I'm really excited for Jaime and Brienne to meet up again.
They're the people I've heard a lot about.
Yeah, I was happy.
Year.
It took Jaime a long time. I would have liked him to have realised it sooner. I thought he'd do this in like the first episode of the series. He didn't do it until the final episode, but it was a really cool last scene where he's like, "Fuck you, Cersei. You know what? I'm finally done." And
I think it's a very good set.
Rides off on his horse, and he's going to Winterfell, we assume, and Brienne is there as well. So, but no, it was very good. We had the great moments. We had the great cast, the great acting. Yeah. It was just a bit messier. And also just clunkier and clumsier. Some of that just because they're floundering because they don't have George, and some of that hopefully because there's something a bit cleverer going on, and they're setting up some twists because it's too obvious. But we'll see. We should talk about the Ed Sheeran cameo just because.
There's an Ed Sheeran cameo.
Yes, they're just not because it was anything in particular.
Weird.
Just it was such a moment of social media and of the world where everyone at once was just tweeting like.
I didn't know about that.
What?
I only heard about the shipping.
It was weird. So there's this character, Arya, and she's like on the road, and she comes across these soldiers who are having a campfire, and then one of them, and she's kind of chatting to some of them, and they're like, "Oh, where are you off to?" And it's like a little bit of exposition, and then you hear singing in the background, and I remember kind of thinking that sounds like Ed Sheeran, and then it is Ed Sheeran. Ed Sheeran's a Lannister soldier. Okay.
And he's just got his guitar out.
And I kind of thought, oh, she's going to kill them. Because that's the kind of thing Arya does. And I thought, oh, this will be cool. Like, if I was a singer, that would be my cameo. But like, can I be in it, please? Can Arya kill me? That'd be fun. But they kind of didn't. And it was just this slightly awkward scene where everyone was a little bit wooden. And his acting was actually okay. But the other people in the scene as well, everyone was a bit wooden. And it was just kind of like...
a bit weird.
A bit cheesy. It didn't really feel Game of Thronesy. It was like, I'm singing now, and now we're sharing an ale together, and I don't know.
It was an odd choice for it. Was it an odd choice for a cameo? Is there something I don't know? It just seems really random.
I mean, he's a singer, and it's the kind of world where you have bards and soldiers that would sing, and that makes sense. But I feel like you just have him singing at a feast or something, and you wouldn't have to have a whole scene where Arya meets a friendly band of Lannister soldiers. Yes, merry men. It's weird. Maybe he'll come back. Maybe he's the secret to the whole thing.
Yeah.
Ed Sheeran will be on the Iron Throne.
He's masterminded the whole of the Game of Thrones. I don't know if that sentence makes sense. I have no knowledge of this.
It does make sense.
So, yeah, he's the the throne master.
And that was a good thing. One of the characters who thought he was pulling the strings on the entire Game of Thrones, he was the one that got his throat cut, and it was like, nah, dude. But he's gross. Littlefinger's gross.
It'll be like in The Prisoner.
I'm biased.
You never know who's the person who's like the top, and they keep changing, and they're like, maybe it's this person, no, maybe it's this person, and you never find out.
Yeah, he likes to think he's the top.
At the end, they'll just have a shot of Ed Sheeran, and he'll do that little shady, shifty eye thing, and smile to himself, and it'll be like, he masterminded the whole thing.
I went to the Fringe this year, and I saw Game of Thrones the musical, and it was the funniest thing I've ever seen. And they had a joke at the end. Well, the plot of the musical is these people who they've all seen it, and their one friend hasn't seen it, and they're trying to explain what's happened. And at the end, they like act out their version of how they want it to end. And there's this running joke that because there's this character, Arya Stark, who can change her face and shapeshift, where every 2 minutes, whoever's...
She can shapeshift?
She can't... Yeah, it's not really explained how it works. She's serves the many-faced god, where she literally rips people's faces off, and then she seems to put it on, and then she becomes... But they had this running
For some reason, that makes more sense to me. I was like, shapeshifting, that doesn't make any sense. Oh, like, okay, she rips their faces off and then becomes them, I'm fine with that.
It's pretty cool, actually. But yeah, there was this running joke where every so often a character would pull off their face and go, yes, it was me, Arya Stark. I was the wildfire all along. And like things that didn't make sense, like fire and the king of the White Walkers, like the zombie. It was like, okay, right. Arya is everyone.
There were never. She was every character. There were never any other characters in the show. It was just her all along talking to herself.
Yeah.
I feel like I could get on board with that musical just because I like musicals.
Yeah, it was really funny.
It seems to have been done with somebody like me in mind who doesn't know what's going on.
Crying. Yeah, I think that's what it's really.
I'll just assume that now, that at any moment. But is it really them?
Arya Stark all along. But anyway, good series overall. Bit of a mess, but I mean,
sometimes that's okay.
They're not George R.R. Martin, so I feel like they held it together pretty well. More wolves, more dragons.
Just all wolves and dragons, and then at the end they take their face off, and it was Arya Stark.
All along.
That's how I'd end the series. What were we on?
I don't know. I wasn't doing numbers.
so now I'm confused. So I'm on number 4, which is Crazy Ex-Girlfriends.
Okay, well I have that on my list as well.
On your list, so we can just talk about that as a pair. We already did like a whole thing about Crazy Ex-Girlfriends.
I'm talking about this year though. So what's it been like this year?
Which confuses me because I feel like I preferred. I think I like the series more than series 2, but series 1 and 2 have merged together for me now. But like series 1's still my favourite.
Yeah,
but I still like the series. It's all good.
It's still number 4 It's kind of gotten a bit more real, this series, definitely.
Certainly.
Much heavier, so not as laugh out loud funny.
Much more serious themes.
Yeah, suicide and mental illness and all that. But it's good. I really like the way the
show's
handling it.
It's got like a lot of attention, this series, which will hopefully bode well for it getting its final series, series 4. That'd be very sad if it got cancelled before the last series that they had planned.
It's still making really good songs. It almost amazes me how they still manage to do that.
I think that's what I base my favourite series on, is just the songs.
The songs have still been pretty good.
The songs in today's episode are really good.
I haven't seen today's episode yet.
So good songs.
I'm really upset because it looked like the end of the last episode she's going to break up with Nathaniel, and I ship it so hard.
Yeah. I feel like it's maybe more like an on a break situation. It's kind of vague.
Okay. I just hope they're both okay. I love them both.
Yeah. One of the songs is Nathaniel dealing with it.
Oh, Nathaniel gets a song. Yes. Oh, I'm so excited to watch that now.
It's Nathaniel and Josh and White Josh. Well, Josh comes in at the end, but it's mostly Nathaniel and White Josh.
Oh, that's good. They're two good ones.
Yeah.
Is it like a dealing with breakups song?
Yes. Oh. It's like fit hot guys have problems too or something. I think was something like that was the title.
And I loved the song Very First Penis I Saw.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's... I was going to think that's maybe my favourite song of the series, but then there were some songs in the first episode.
It's such a banger.
Now I've kind of forgotten because it was so long ago that were really good. And then there's the Josh Groban song.
Oh my god, the end of the movie. Oh, iconic. Honestly, possibly my favourite song ever.
There's been some really great. And the scary, sexy lady.
I've got that on
There've
my
been some really
on my
great songs
Spotify, and
of
occasionally it comes on shuffle. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, this is happening, and it's always when I'm like walking somewhere at night, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
this is atmospheric. The very first Penis I saw was great. I love a good ABBA
Yeah.
spoof.
Yeah, ABBA parody.
With a synchronised head turning. That was fantastic.
And
Yeah, it's weird to think all that stuff has happened this year.
Yeah. I
It
forgot.
feels like ages ago. The
Yeah, because they had like the break over Christmas. And the random break in between like the final episode of last year and all the other episodes from last year. There was like several weeks. And then the last episode, and then there was Christmas. And now we're back in. So it seems like a long time ago.
the tone has definitely changed, but it's doing good stuff still.
A lot of great
A
things.
lot of good.
I like that they're doing different things. I wouldn't want it to just
Yeah.
keep being the same thing.
A lot of bangers as well.
Yeah.
And Josh is the kind of I hate Josh,
Yeah.
so I love how much.
I don't
this
hate
is-
Josh with the same kind of passion that you do. I'm just
He's
like, I don't
gross
like
and-
Josh.
Well, he's not gross, but.
I feel like he is getting his redemption arc though.
Mm.
But like my favourite joke from the last episode last week was when his mum's like, "Those aren't real problems."
Yeah, he got called out. It's just Jesus, Josh, grow up. I like what they're doing with
Anyway.
Josh, and I like the scene in the last week's episode where he came to Rachel's house and told her. Rachel or Rebecca? Rachel's the
Rebecca.
actress.
I do that all the time.
Well, they're deliberately like the same name. Like
Yeah.
Rachel
Same
Bloom,
same
Rebecca Bunch.
initials.
Yeah, to be like, oh, you've really changed me as a person, and thanks. And she was just like, great. Can you leave?
Yeah.
Again, Josh, not about
Yes.
you.
But I'm glad he came to that realisation, because I thought that was going to be something that might drag out, where he was still in denial and trying to blame Rebecca for everything.
Yeah.
When those aren't real problems, Joe. But he came to that realisation pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So
And I was really
happy about
pleased that they had the whole arc where after she tried to commit suicide, him being like, oh no, I had to
It
go and
was-
see
yeah.
her. It was all because of me.
It was all because of me. They
And-
love me.
Yeah. Rebecca's crack team of
Yeah.
female friends being like,
Yeah.
piss off, Josh. This is not about you.
Yeah. Female friends and Hector.
Mhm.
But it's definitely been a good series. They've all been good series. It's consistently good.
Yeah, it's evolving.
And I'm happy it's finally getting the recognition it deserves. Well, maybe that's just because I now follow Rachel Bloom on Twitter and I now see all of the things that she retweets about it. But I feel like there have been a lot of articles about it and it's been on people's best of lists this year. So
That's good.
more people need to watch it. 'Cause it's a great show.
Maybe that would be my New Year's resolution, get some people to watch it.
Yeah.
Because we were saying in our podcast on it, it's really hard
Yeah,
getting people.
It's really hard. You're my only success story. And I've recommended it to so many people who it would be perfect for. But there's another thing, even if you get people to watch the first episode, they might not realise how good it's going to be. I think that's everything I have to say about Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. We sort of
Okay.
already said a lot of things.
That was on
Yeah.
my list as well, so I guess that
Specific podcast about it.
counts as my 3, or I don't know.
Yes, it is now number 3.
Whose turn
Well,
is it?
You can just say one that's in the final 3 that you haven't said
Okay,
yet.
so I've put Riverdale on my list. I love it. It's trash.
I really liked the first series, and I loved it because it was trash.
It's such trash. I still haven't finished the second series. I forget
I
how long
only watched the first episode. And
How
I was like,
long
I don't know if I want to watch more of this.
American series are.
I know, they go on forever.
Go forever.
Like
and
British
ever and
series
ever.
is like 6 to 10 episodes.
So how much of series 2 have you watched?
Only the first episode. I only
Okay.
watched one.
It took me ages to
And
finally
then
watch
moved on
it,
to other
but
things.
I really, I'm kind of loving it, and it's kind of what is going on. I feel like there's a bit too much going on. So there's a serial killer on the loose.
Oh, okay.
Betty's
I do like
trying
serial
to,
killers.
yeah, it's good. And there was a Texas Chainsaw Massacre reference where they had at the beginning,
Oh,
you know, the thing at the beginning of Texas Chainsaw where it's like, oh, the following thing happened
Yeah.
to these young people. They had that at the beginning of one of the episodes, and then it kind of went through each of their stories.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, I get
Oh.
what this is referencing.
that's the sort of thing I like. I do like their pink and blue lighting.
I know, it's so gorgeous and aesthetic. And as part of solving this serial killer, there was a scene I really liked where Jughead is talking about famous masks, because it's a masked serial killer, and Jughead
Of
kind
course.
of briefly talks about other,
You can't have a serial
other
killer without a
famous
mask.
masked
That would just
killers
be
like the
ridiculous.
Zodiac killer and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, I know all about these things because I'm a weirdo who listens to podcasts
Yes.
about serial
Yeah.
killers and unsolved murders.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Betty's still trapped in a Hitchcock movie. Archie and Veronica are just having loads of sex.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
that's all
I
they're
forgot they
doing.
were a thing. Those are all the bits that I don't care about. Archie in general, I would have just cut him out.
He's
of
so
the
dull,
show.
isn't he?
He's more important, I feel, in this series, considering what happened at the end of series 1 and the first episode of series 2 that I've seen.
Yeah.
But like all of his stuff in series 1, it was like there were people being murdered, and there was like a whole murder mystery going on, and serious things happening. There was like, oh, Archie might want to play the guitar.
Yeah, the plot from High School Musical.
Care.
Archie being like, oh, do I like sports or music? And like, this is the plot of High School Musical. People are dying, get with it. That was way more important.
Songs are good enough.
But this is spoilers, by the way. I guess it's going to be spoilers for everything.
I think it's fine.
But I'm interested to see how you'll... Because I quite like the relation. I'm not like super invested in the relationships. Because it's not like
Betty and Jughead.
Yeah.
But I was a bit upset because Jughead was meant to be asexual, and now he's possibly still asexual, but like hetero-romantic or just not aromantic, because they haven't had sex unless that's...
No, they're still... Well, that's the thing. I don't think they have, because they've made it very clear that Veronica and Archie are having loads of sex. Yeah. And whenever we see Bughead hanging out together, they're always in bed.
I call it Bethead.
Oh,
Bughead's cute. Funnier though. I don't know. Carry on.
They call it Bughead in the show. I think it's... I can't remember who's the sheriff's son. Kevin.
Okay.
Yeah, Kevin.
I don't remember his name.
Kevin,
he wasn't in Series 1 that much.
No, he gets more of a plot.
Oh, I liked his thing with... There was that other guy who was like part of the Snakes people, and then he was in a relationship
serpents.
with the Snakes people. He was in a relationship with the sheriff's son. And I like that, but then that didn't really go anywhere.
He's kind of damaged from that now, and he's like dealing with that a bit. So he gets a little bit of plot. That's the thing, like Josie's... From Josie and the Pussycats, she's getting a bit more development. I hope Cheryl is... I love Cheryl. Thing. I think she's getting a bit more...
Cheryl was fun.
Stuff. Cheryl's bloody hilarious. I love her. I want to be her. She's so horrible to everyone, but she always looks incredible. But it's just such a bizarre show. So you've got catching a serial killer, and then also Jughead's got this plot where he's joining the Serpents because he's trying to like fill his father's shoes, and he's really conflicted about it. And there was a bit where it was literally the scene from Grease with the drag race, and Cheryl like drops the scarf and stuff, and it was like, what am I watching? And the most recent one I saw, Betty finds out about a Southside Serpent tradition where the women do pole dancing, and there's this really awkward scene where they're at this party for Jughead's dad because he's getting out of prison, and she just starts doing a pole dance, and it's like in front of her mum's there, and Jughead's dad's there, and all these people that she doesn't really know, and everyone's just kind of silent, and she does this pole dance in her underwear, and then she finishes and it's just kind of quiet, and Jughead's dad is like, thanks Betty, and puts a coat on her, and Jughead's like, what? And yeah, I'm with him. It was like, what? Okay. So some episodes it was like, this is great, and some it's like, what is happening? What is happening? And that's when I stopped watching. The end of that episode, he breaks up with her, so Bughead is no more, which was upsetting and felt very sudden, where he's just like, I can't even remember his reason. I think it was some bullshit like, this isn't your world. Because I'm a bad boy now, and I don't want to put you in danger, which is like Spider-Man 2, which is an awful. It's never a good idea.
Yeah,
breaking up with them to save them. And then
it's for your
Veronica and Archie seem to break up, and I can't remember why that happened either. That's what pissed me off. I don't know if I will carry on watching at some point.
It's like it just because it needs to happen.
Yeah, it needs to happen,
so
and then
we'll just make it happen.
The episode ended with Archie's really upset because he's just broken up with Veronica. Betty's upset because she's broken up with Jughead, and obviously their rooms. It's like the Taylor Swift thing where they can see into each other's rooms.
I don't get any Taylor Swift references.
Oh, in the
okay,
iconic bad music video, "You Belong with Me." It's like the boy and the girl who live next door, and they look in the windows and wave at each other. The episode ends with, I think it's the classic Jughead narration, and it's something about...
I forgot he narrates things.
And then they're both really upset, and then Archie looks over and sees Betty, and it's like, and he sees the girl next door for the first time, and it's the implication like, now he wants Betty, which just made me like, for fuck's sake, Archie, I bloody hate you. Like, the beginning of series
Archie's
1,
worse than Josh.
Betty's great, and you'd be lucky to have her. And in the beginning of the first season, he's like, oh no, Betty, no. And she's upset by that. And then she finally found happiness with Jughead, who's his best friend. And then he's literally just broken up with Veronica. Yeah. I think he's got a problem. He can't be single. Like, he was with Mrs. Grundy. Yeah. Which was gross. And then he was with that girl from the Pussycats. And then he was kind of with Veronica. And he just needs to chill. He needs some time with himself, I think. He doesn't know who he is as a person. He just needs to be in a relationship. Because he's literally, that afternoon, he's broken up with Veronica. And then he's like looking at Betty through his bedroom window, and it's supposed to be all romantic, and it was please leave her alone. No. She's
Don't
got
ruin this
murders
now.
to solve.
I just want the murder stuff.
Yeah, the
That's
murder
all I'm
stuff is
interested
fun.
in.
I kind of like the relationship stuff, but not with Archie.
No, just nothing with Archie. Get rid of Archie, everything else is fine.
Yeah.
You know who I weirdly ship is Jughead's dad and Betty's mum. Is that weird?
Yeah, I get that vibe. They hate each other so much.
know.
It's like, oof, what happened there? You're not telling us everything. You should watch it then, because you find out about
Ooh.
Betty's
Past
mum has a
exploits.
past. Yeah, that's fun.
I'm interested in the parents.
Yeah, they're really interesting. And
Yeah.
Cheryl, I don't know what they're doing with Cheryl. She seems like
She's just
it seems
out
like
on her
she's
own now.
potentially stalking Josie. Like she's
Oh.
obsessed with Josie because Josie had a stalker, and then they kind of implied that it was Cheryl, and she was
Cheryl.
orchestrating the whole thing to like freak Josie out so that Josie would be closer to Cheryl. But I hope that's not the case, because that's really horrible.
Yeah,
and I'd like
Cheryl
her.
is quite a bad person.
She's quite a bad person, but
who just does the right thing sometimes on a whim.
I'd like her to get like she's just kind of like a cat who
Yeah,
like
exactly
knocks things
like a cat.
off the coffee
she's
table.
like, oh, I'm gonna knock that off
Just
now.
because
I'm
why
just gonna
not?
break that.
She's not like a evil mastermind who's going to
She just
try
does stuff because that's what she wants to do in the moment.
So I don't want her to be this evil genius character who's manipulating Josie, and it's really horrible. Which they haven't.
She doesn't strike me as the sort of person to play the long game.
I
don't
hope
think she has
that's
that
not what
sort of
she's doing.
attention span.
They had this episode where Josie kept getting weird messages and being freaked out by stuff, and she was confiding in Cheryl about it. And then there was a weird scene where Cheryl says, "Oh, you look really stressed," and they're in the locker room in their underwear, and she's like, "Let me massage you," and that was like, okay, like I'd love them to do Josie and Cheryl in a lesbian relationship, but not if it's Cheryl weirdly abusively manipulating her. And then
that is her history with relationships, though, because that was what she did with Archie, was just try and manipulate him into being in a relationship with her.
And then at the end of the episode, you see her like doing this drawing of her and Josie together, and it's really creepy. So they haven't explicitly said that's what's going on, but I'm guessing that's what's
creepy
going on.
Vibes. But I feel like they could, because they shift tonally a lot in Riverdale. So
It's
I feel
a
like
mess.
they could set up all this creepy stuff, and then maybe she'll just come out and say it, and then it'll be okay, and then it'll stop being creepy. And
Yeah, they set
this
stuff
is gonna
up.
be normal now.
And then completely just wave it away. So there was this whole plot where the serial killer was saying to Betty, phoning Betty and getting her to do stuff, and saying you have to argue with your friends and isolate yourself, and you need to break up with Jughead. And so she breaks up with Jughead via Archie. She gets Archie to go over there and be like, but he doesn't want to see you anymore because you're too involved with the serpents. And obviously he's really upset, and that's quite a big thing for like 2 episodes, I think. and it's really quite painful. And then they don't explain it. It's like in the commentary, the narration by Jughead at the end of the episode, you see like them kind of spooning and reading a book together like they normally would, and he's just like, and Betty explained to me about the thing with the serial killer, and then we were fine. It was like, what a hand wave. Like, he just completely dodged the conversation of her trying to
why
explain.
even do it?
Yeah.
Why even have that as a plot point? You're just gonna undo it for no reason.
Yeah, I feel the series of Riverdale could be so much shorter.
Yes.
They just add in all these weird
get rid of Archie.
alleyways. Oh, yes, let's just kill Archie.
It's so weird that he's like the title of the comic that it's based on, and he just seems so unimportant and uninteresting, and I don't care about him at all.
All his decisions are so questionable.
Yeah.
And he's with Veronica as well, and I don't dislike her, but I don't like
she's
her.
she's just kind of there to drive certain plot points forward.
I'm not sure what I guess we'll find out who the serial killer is, like we found out who killed Jason. But I'm worried about the Josie and Cheryl plotline. It's not keeping me up at night, but I'm still not.
Not worried that much.
Yes, please, lesbians, but not
Yeah.
creepy sociopathic lesbians.
Yeah. It's like I hope they do something with Jughead being asexual.
But yeah, Riverdale's a mess, and it's still on my top because I'm still watching it. I'm still watching it like, oh my god, give me more. But
I feel like it's the sort of thing that I'd want to binge watch, which is probably why, because they were putting it on Netflix weekly, and I watched one, and then there weren't any more, and I just stopped watching it.
I only watched it in the past like 3 weeks. Wouldn't be surprised if we got some kind of spin-off series about it.
That like a prequel is just about the parents.
Yeah,
I'd like that. I feel like that would be more interesting.
Is Riverdale
you could
meant
get rid
to
of Archie.
Is Riverdale meant to be modern? I feel like it's meant to be. When is it meant to be set?
Oh, I assume now.
Yeah. So when would the parents be? Like the 80s? I don't know.
Yeah.
That'd be
More
fun.
80s things. Everyone loves 80s things. Everything's the 80s.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about Stranger Things.
Yeah. Is that on your list?
It's not on my list because I was never that into. But I enjoyed it,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't put it on my list.
Yeah, like I like series 1, but series 2 I got progressively more and more bored with.
I think that might be another thing I didn't finish. I'm trying to remember. God, I've really not been very committed this year.
Just like been like, oh no, I've had enough of this now. Watch something else.
It
But
deserves
anyway,
better.
Stranger Things is not on our list.
No, it's
so
not.
that was just a little tangent. So my number 3, even though you're not really numbering, but my numbered list, my number 3 is Big Little Lies. I mean, again, I guess a drama. I'm not good with, if it's not a comedy or sci-fi or horror, then I get confused about what other genres are. It's like just generally a drama. That there's, at the beginning that some shit goes down. I'm pretty sure it's a murder, and there's like interviews with people who aren't the main characters, who are just like police interviews. So like one of the main characters dies, but you don't know which one because none of them are interviewed. So it could be anyone. And then it's sort of what leads up to that, and then it's quite a surprise of who it is and who kills them at the end. But I liked that with the interviews that they have, it's like there's so much hearsay and gossip that turns, so you get like an impression of what it's going to be before you actually get to know the main characters, and you're like, oh, it's not really what people thought it was at all. And it's a lot about how, particularly because it's another parenting thing, that when you've got a lot of people with kids in close quarters, they're all talking about each other. People always get things wrong. I like anything that's about things not really happening and just gossip about people's relationships and their children, and just intrigued by those things.
It sounds good.
It is good. But then Laura Dern's in it, and I really like Laura Dern.
Sounds good. Again,
It's
I like
very
a
good. And I think I watched it in like a day. I just binge watched the whole thing. Because unusually for an American show, not that many episodes. I think there were only like 8. But I'm not sure.
Is it on Netflix or...
No.
Do we have to acquire it in some other
some
legal
other
way?
fashion? But it's a very good show. And a nice succinct
I like
series.
a good murder.
Mini-series. I'm all about the mini-series. I feel like a lot of the things I have on here are just mini-series.
I've only got one TV show left now.
I have 2 left. Do you want to do
I do my one?
I
think I have saved this because I think it is my favourite of the ones I've written here. But mine is The Crown.
Oh yeah, I have not seen.
I really enjoyed series 2,
but I've heard a lot of good things about it.
Yeah. So yeah, of all these things I kind of mentioned, I've said, oh, I kind of watched it and then I kind of petered off. And I did not do that with The Crown. I watched it. I was like, this is great, and I was just constantly wanting to watch another episode. It's just so well made. It looks gorgeous. The acting's unbelievable. Like Claire Foy and Matt Smith. Just, I think the thing about it is kind of stuff about the royal family normally makes me quite angry. Like Victoria, the ITV drama. Series 1 was fairly interesting because I think just that story is interesting about how she became queen and the early days and her marriage. But especially now, all it is the few episodes I've watched, because my rest of my family quite likes watching it. It's just unbearable. I'm not even sure what the right word is. Sentimental crap about Victoria and lovely and and Albert.
That's my issue with a lot of Victorian things.
And it's just gross. Whereas The Crown, I really don't get that. Like,
it seems much more political.
It is political. Like, I hate the monarchy as a concept, but I can watch The Crown and be like, yep, I'm still completely safe in my views. Because they're just awful people, or that's how they're portrayed, but they're still so sympathetic. Like, it's not like, oh, evil poshos, but it's also not like, oh, aren't they lovely? Oh, look at what a hard job they have. But they're just characters, which is good. They're full characters, and you can really engage with them. But again, like the Duke of Edinburgh, maybe I'm pretty sure this is a pretty accurate depiction, but he's a complete shit.
That sounds accurate.
It's like if you listen to the Queen's speech at Christmas, you're like, nobody talks like that. That's just, it's almost amazing. I think,
how have you constructed this voice?
But yeah, just even getting into the voice is incredible, but they do such a good job of it. But they're also relatable. Like, I remember watching, I messaged my friend, and with no context, she was like, what are you talking about? Because the only message I sent her was, I never thought I'd relate to Princess Margaret. And again, like, nobody's really likeable. Like, Tony's kind of a shit, and she's mean. Like, she's a bitch. And
I like series where no one's likeable.
Prince Philip's a whiny baby, and he's very selfish. And the Queen is like, she's the most likeable. But again, you kind of watch it like, you're quite boring and a bit wet, and it's a bit tragic. And they had a really good episode with Jackie Kennedy, and they kind of covered that. When that was kind of wild. It seemed to me, maybe I read it wrong, it seemed to me like they were implying she was somehow implicit in the Kennedy assassination, and the Queen kind of got that and was like, I'm gonna...
Okay.
Because the plot of the episode...
That's an odd thing to have in
The plot of the episode is that
biopic.
She's really jealous of Jackie Kennedy because everyone's like, oh, she's so beautiful, we love her. So she's kind of not endeared to her. But then they end up kind of bonding, and she ends up kind of close to her. And then she finds out about the assassination. She's looking at footage of Jackie Kennedy being led out of the hospital into a waiting car in the bloody clothes. And she says, oh my God, she's covered in the blood. That's horrible. And the Queen Mother's like, oh, could they not get her some other clothes? And the Queen kind of goes, no, she's deliberately done this. She's orchestrated this. She's chosen to... They must have offered her other clothes. She's decided that she wants to be seen wearing the bloody clothes of her dead husband. And then she kind of thinks for a moment, and then she goes, and then she calls up her people and she says, I want to show full mourning, and we're all going to wear full mourning dress, and we're going to fly all the flags at half-mast, and we're going to ring the bells in Westminster Abbey or whatever the hell it is that you do.
Whatever the traditions are.
And they're all like, oh, but we don't normally do that for presents. She's like, no, we're going to do it. And I got from it the implication is she's like, I see what you're doing. Jackie Kennedy, I shall assist you. And which is such a weird jump to make. I feel like a lot of it, they try not to be too out there.
I don't think that means like she was implicit in the assassination.
No, not in the assassination, but she was
that's what I thought you were saying. I was like, that's
the
a
Queen
weird
didn't
jump
kill
for this
Kennedy,
to make.
I don't think that, but I think she was kind of implying maybe Jackie Kennedy was involved in it somehow, and the Queen kind of got that.
I'm sure that's a conspiracy theory.
And was like...
I still think it's an odd thing to put in a TV show about it. But
yeah, that just felt a bit weird. I quite liked it. I was like, no, I'm down for this. This is fun.
This is more interesting than I thought.
A fun theory. And I like the idea of the Queen being like, yeah, all right, let's go with this.
This is what we're doing now.
I'll help you out. Yeah, gals being pals.
It's always gals being pals.
But that was fun. And they did a whole episode on... well, they did more than one episode, but the main episode they did on Prince Philip was going back to his childhood and how all his... Like, it's amazing the stuff that they don't have to make up, and it's still so... You couldn't believe it. Like, people just don't know this. Like, his whole family were Nazis.
Yeah.
Which is just... How have we not just beheaded all of them already? That's completely absurd. And yet it's you kind of go back to his childhood and you see how loads of his family died, and then he goes to the funeral and there's swastikas everywhere and everyone's Sikh-heiling.
Of course. And you're like, oh, yeah, right.
And it's really tough and horrible, and he's all left alone in the world at this boarding school, and you feel really sorry for him. But then also he's a complete shit, because in the same episode he makes Prince Charles go to the same boarding school even though he hates it, and he flies him there in his plane, and he like deliberately is, because Charles is scared of flying, is like trying to freak him out and scaring him and being a real dick. It's just horrible. And he kind of, it's implied that he cheats as well, and then he kind of gets found out, and then he's just a huge baby, and he's like, oh well, I don't like being second fiddle, and it's like, well then why did you marry the Queen?
That's true.
And he means it. There was really little scenes that really got me, like she gets her hair cut all short, and then they're on a train, and he kind of looks at her over his paper and says, I thought you wanted more children from me. And she's like, yeah. And he's like, then why have you done that to your hair? You look awful. And it was like, that's so mean. Like, Jesus. And of course I guess we have no idea of knowing whether that conversation happened. That's something they've made up, but...
They've like bugged the palace to find out what they say to each other.
Yeah, I wonder what the process is for stuff like this, if the palace gets...
did they interview? Probably not.
Maybe the palace would not condone this. Like, it's... Everyone comes up awfully in it. Implies that everyone's Nazis and unfaithful.
There's probably certain records of things.
And they also, Princess Margaret and her husband Anthony, where it starts off, I was like, oh, this is quite a cute little love story, I like it. But then the more it goes on, they imply basically he's a philanderer, and the only reason he marries her is just for the kind of the status, and why not, and as a kind of FU to his brother who he's really jealous of. And then she's only kind of marrying him because she's upset that her previous guy she liked is marrying someone else as well. It was really like...
That's always how these things are. That's not surprising to me at all.
It's just kind of horrible. Everyone's horrible. You don't like any of them, but it's such a good show, and you do care about all of them, even though they're horrible people. And it genuinely had moments of, like,
sort of characters.
Humour as well, because I think it pokes the fun at the British upper classes, which is good.
I feel like you can't have a show about the British upper class and have it not be funny, because
it's so ridiculous.
The British upper class are just inherently funny, inherently hilarious.
Yeah, they also did an episode about, oh gosh, is it Edward? The one who was king before King George, who abdicated so he could marry Wallis Simpson. But anyway, there's an episode where he kind of comes back and he's like, oh, I want to help somehow. Can I be like ambassador to France or something? And everyone's like, oh, don't trust him. We all super hate him ever since he abdicated. And she's like, oh, maybe I will, maybe I will. And then they're like, you might want to rethink that. And they show her all the Nazi files about how he was literally like collaborating with the Nazis in the Second World War, and he made this deal where he was like, they were like, well, you can be king again and you can marry Wallis Simpson. Was like, you literally couldn't get chummier with the Nazis than he was. And then at the end of the episode,
I feel like all this sort of stuff should be more in our dialogue of the monarchy just in general.
Yeah, and then at the end of the episode they had the real footage and real photos of it happening. It's just like, oh shit, no, that was real.
This was actually, that was the thing that actually happened. Shit.
Yeah, that was really, well, it wasn't really good, but it was good that they had the episode on it, and it was a very well done episode. Like, you just kept finding out more shit about what had happened. Yeah. Because the Queen didn't know any of it either. So it was, you were kind of learning it all with her, and she kept being like, maybe I'll forgive him, and then being like, oh, fuck, no. And she gives him a very satisfying dressing down, which was good.
It sounds like the thing I might actually be interested in.
It's
I'm
really
not
good.
usually into period things, and it's kind of a period thing.
Well,
But
it's
then I
period,
like
but it's still fairly recent. It's not period like the 1800s.
Yeah, I feel like it's a historical drama rather than a period drama.
Yeah, it's like the 50s
period
onwards.
dramas are just an excuse to wear fancy costumes and use archaic language, whereas historical dramas actually have a point for existing.
Yeah, but I'm really excited to see what the next season's going to look like, because this is the last one with Claire Foy as the Queen. She's being recast.
Oh, yeah.
Which I'm really excited, because clearly then they're going to carry on.
Is that because she's going to be older in...
She's going to be older. I guess they're going to... I'm going to be really sad to see Matt Smith go, because I think he's just incredible in it. It's hard to explain without seeing it. He's just so charming, but awful. Yeah. You just want to smack him, but he's really fun to watch. Half the stuff, the plot lines that they cover is stuff that I kind of knew about, and it's really interesting to see them do, and the other half is stuff I didn't even know about. Yeah. But it'll be good to see them do, I don't know, Charles and Camilla and Diana and all that jazz. That'll be interesting.
It's interesting. It's on Netflix.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. I might catch up on it.
But that's good. My main point about it is I just really like it because it makes them all out to be horrible. Yeah. They're still sympathetic.
And it just reinforces your pre-existing view of the monarchy.
I can be a person. I hate the monarchy, and I can watch it and be like, oh, I love all of you, and I hate all of you, and I'm still secure in my views.
I'll add it to my list on Netflix, which is ever growing. So my number 2, I have 2 left, is BoJack Horseman, which I watched all of this year, having got Netflix. And I think technically series 4 would be my favourite series. So I'm still maintaining the series that came out last year as being my number 2 slot, because I thought series 4 was the best out of all of them. And there were a few specific episodes that use just some really interesting narrative devices, I guess, and there were a few to get into spoilers, as we have been with many a show, kind of. Yeah, just in terms of how they tell certain stories. There were a couple of episodes that would just stand out as like some of my favourite things that I've ever seen in television. But there was one where a character, Princess Caroline, or Princess Carolyn, I'm never sure which one it is. I say Princess Caroline, and now I can't remember what they say on the show. I'm gonna call her Princess Caroline. And there's kind of a bookend structure where it starts out with it's her like great-great-granddaughter or something in the future, and there's all this futuristic stuff giving a presentation in school about an ancestor, and it's about Princess Caroline, who's a cat, which is, I feel like the name Princess Caroline is very fitting. It's the sort of thing you'd name a cat, and I like that they go with that as the naming thing. And it's the like great-great-granddaughter who's telling the story of this episode. So then most of it's done through flashback, and I'm doing air quotes for flashback of what's happening. And it's Princess Caroline just had like the worst day, and she had like another miscarriage, and she's had like multiple miscarriages before, and it's the time that she kind of gives up on being able to have children, and like breaks up with a boyfriend, and like the whole thing with the business goes terribly. But the great-great-granddaughter, I'm completely ruining this episode now, anyone who hasn't seen it, but I just want to talk about it so much, that the great-great-granddaughter has been saying about how this is, like, it has a happy ending. So, like, the whole time I'm watching this episode thinking, well, it's going to be okay, though, because apparently this has a happy ending. But then at the end of the episode, it's just Princess Caroline talking to Bojack, saying about how when she has an awful day, she thinks about how one day her, like, a distant ancestor will be telling a story about her to other people, and she thinks, well, it must work out all right, because otherwise she wouldn't exist. And then that's the end of the episode, and it never goes back
Oh my god.
to the granddaughter because it's not real.
Oh my
And
god.
it's like, you lied to me. I
That's
thought it was going to be
horrible.
okay because of the book ending.
I've not even watched it and I'm not okay. That's not alright. Oh.
And then I just sat there for a while like, oh, I'm so devastated by that episode.
That's genius and
Yes.
cruel
The
and
genius storytelling device. Because what she said about thinking everything must turn out okay is exactly what I was thinking through the whole episode. And then they pulled the rug out from under me. It was so sad.
I feel so called out personally as well,
Yeah.
just from hearing about it. Because that's what I think. I have the cute little saying that people have with the
Yeah.
everything will be alright in the end, and if it's not alright, that means it's not yet the end.
Yeah. But there's no way of knowing.
Yeah.
It was such a good episode. And there were several episodes that dealt with Bojack's mother, who's like got dementia, and it sort of goes into her past. And so it's like the same character walks through, and then the sort of the environment changes around them, and then you move kind of like a dream through different scenes in the way that I expect is kind of like what it's like either to be in a dream or to be somebody who has dementia, where things you're just suddenly in like a different setting in your head and think about things that happened a long time ago. And that was handled very well. But I won't go into spoilers on that, so I'm not spoiling the entire show, because that was my other favourite, like 2 episodes dealt with that. It's just such a good show.
It sounds rough.
It is. It's like, so many people had said, oh, it's BoJack isn't a show I can binge watch because it's just so depressing. And when I started watching the first series, like, I get that it's, it's like a sad, real sort of show, but it's like, oh, it's not that bad. And it's like season 4 comes along and it's just one of the most devastating series of episodes that I've ever watched in quick succession. So yeah, series 4, I definitely get what people were talking about now. I just thought people were overreacting. I was like, well, it's like kind of like other stuff I've seen on TV, but like series 4. It's so good and so awful all at once. And that's why it's my number 2 on my list. And I feel like it's been too low on people's lists and it should be higher, but maybe I'm just overexcited about it because I watched it all in one go.
Busy crying.
Yeah.
It sounds raw.
They're just trying to pretend it didn't happen because it's just so sad. And also, another good point about series 4, Todd comes out as asexual, which, back to my point about Jughead, need more asexual characters in the media. And I think Todd is like the only proper asexual representation that had been in any TV ever. Because it's, you get like certain adaptations of Sherlock Holmes, like I think particularly with the original books, it's generally considered he was asexual, but then with any TV adaptation they've just thrown that out the window.
More fat!
Making everyone straight. So I think this is the first time that's happened, and there's a whole storyline where he comes to terms with his sexuality, and it's really good.
That's cool.
There's an asexual meetup group with other asexual characters. I was very happy about it.
Yeah.
And that's why, maybe that's another reason it's higher on my list than other people's. But then number 1, which I feel like, it's been number 1 on a lot of lists, even on some film lists. Like, it's not a film, it's a TV show, but my number 1 is Twin Peaks. Which was, I can see why, particularly with like news outlets that only talk about film and not about TV, cough cough, BFI, why they would want to put it on a film list, because otherwise they can't talk about it. And I get that that's very sad for them, but it's a TV show, it should be addressed as such. It wouldn't be as special as if it was a film, because it's like nothing that's ever been on TV, ever.
Yeah, I have never seen Twin Peaks, but I feel like I'm really saving it because I just know I would love it. I've just been told so many times by people who really get me, like, no, you. Yeah,
it's definitely like Twin Peaks. It's so good. It's like half soap opera, half completely batshit insane fever dream. At least the original series. The series from last year is kind of all fever dream. Which I very much appreciated. But I do like the kind of soap opera elements.
I'm glad that the recent stuff has been good. Because that's always often the way, is it's not as good. But yeah, someone at work was telling me that they've really enjoyed the recent series and I need to get on it. But is there not loads? Am I not going to really struggle to?
There's And there's not that many episodes, I don't think. But yeah, Series 1 only has 8 episodes. But then Series 2 has 22.
Wow.
And Series 3 has 18. So it's not
Not
a
too
huge
bad.
commitment.
Okay. I
Compared
don't
to
know when
other
I'm going to watch
shows.
this. It just feels
Yeah.
like I'm going to like it so much. I'm almost scared to do it
Yeah.
because I want to make the most of it.
I always forget how funny it is. And that wasn't something that I expected going in. Because, like, David Lynch isn't known for his comedy, particularly. There's absurdist humour in a lot of his work. But I wasn't expecting... when I first watched the original series, having not watched any of it before, but having watched a lot of David Lynch's films previously, wasn't expecting it to be funny. And then, like, the first scene, I was actually laughing. And I was like, I wasn't expecting it to be this enjoyable. But it's a lot of fun. And like the sort of David Lynch thing that I can just recommend to people indiscriminately without having to worry about, like, are they just going to be weirded out by this? Because you can enjoy it on many levels. Less so the series that came out last year, which alienated a fair number of people. I still thought it was great. A lot of people still thought it was great. There's one episode, I think it's episode 8, that's become notorious as being the weirdest, where there's like a 10-minute scene of an explosion with ambient electronic music, and it's just in slow motion where this bomb detonates, and then you just zoom into it for ages, and it's the best thing
That sounds cool.
I've ever seen. It's really cool. Then there's a Nine Inch Nails song. They're playing around. The something I like about this series that they didn't do in the other series is they've got like a band at the end of each episode, and I always look forward to that. There was just a song in this like club, and they'd have like a live performance of just some bands. Like, oh cool, new music that I haven't necessarily heard before. And one of them was Nine Inch Nails.
That's cool.
It's a great series. I highly recommend it. But it's
Oh,
probably
it's
something you
definitely
should
on my list.
like wait until you can really commit to
Yeah.
enjoying
I'm
it.
excited.
And I have no idea what happened at the end of the series from last year. I was completely lost, and I'm not interested in puzzling it out as a lot of people are. It's like, I'm just happy to be like, I don't know what happened there plot wise. There was like time travel. It always comes back to time travel. It's like, I wasn't expecting time travel. Was there time travel? Is that what that was? Am I misunderstanding? I think there was time travel, but it was very odd. It changes everything, and but then maybe it puts it back. Then people become other people, and then there's like 3 versions of Dale Cooper. It's like, what's that about? I wasn't expecting 3. I thought there were 2, but then there's 3. But then sometimes it makes it seem like there's 2. It's very confusing, but I was happy to just watch it as an experience.
Yeah.
The thing with a lot of David Lynch things is there tends to be like little stories going on that I get really invested in, but they're never going to go anywhere. There's just like little things happening, and there's so many characters in the new series that like some of them you only see for 1 episode. It's like, I want to know what happened. Like, what happened with that person? I want to know what happened, and I'm expecting things to come back, and they never come back, and you just never see those people again. So many things are left open-ended. It's part of its charm, and it's so slow as well. Particularly the new series. There's one of my favourite scenes is there's 2 characters who are like married, and they're 2 of my favourite characters, and they're trying to buy a chair, and one of them wants it in, I've forgotten what, like there were 2 different colours, let's say blue and red. I don't think it was blue and red, but there were 2 different colours of the same chair, and one of them wants it in blue and one of them wants it in red, and they're sitting on opposite like computers at opposite ends of the room where they work, and one of them goes over to the other and says, I want it in this colour, and then they go back to their chair, and then they wait for a bit, and then the other one goes over and is like, no, I want it in this colour. And then that carries on for a bit, and this is like, again, like another 10-minute scene, and then the one person goes, okay, you can have it in that colour, and then they go back and sit down, but then she orders it in the colour that he wants because he said that she could have it in her colour. And it was like she was just waiting for him to say that you can have it your way. She's like, okay, I'll get what you want. And it was, they're just such adorable characters, and I'm really glad nothing bad happened to them because I was worried that but maybe it did. Again, very odd ending. Who knows what happened at the end of that?
Maybe everyone's dead.
But yeah, maybe everyone was always dead from the beginning. Maybe it's Lost. I don't know. Nobody knows. It could be anything.
Don't invoke the name of Lost.
Especially not when we're talking about Twin Peaks, because Lost was awful and Twin Peaks is the best thing that ever happened. and like with some jokes, like there's early on there's a character who's being like, a lot of people are trying to assassinate this character, and you see them drop something on the floor of a car, and like you know where it's going, in that this car's driving past and somebody's waiting to assassinate them, and they've dropped something. So it's like you're just waiting for them to duck down to pick it up as they drive past, and the assassins go, wait, what? They weren't in the car. And it plays out over such a long period of time, but it's still just as funny when it happens. It's a great show. I feel like I'm not doing it justice because I'm not good at talking about things. I just kind of ramble about, I like this bit, and then this bit was funny, and I like these characters. But it's just such a great show. I'll probably do a video on it at some point. I could do multiple videos on it.
Yeah, well, I'll watch it and then we can do an episode
Yeah.
on it.
Talk about it together. And that is my whole list. But I still say Twin Peaks should be considered as a TV show because it was on TV.
Yeah.
And I read a thing from some critic, I don't know who it was, who said that the people who were saying that Twin Peaks was a TV thing and not a film thing were going to end up on the wrong side of history. And I'm like, excuse you, but let's not devalue television.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Sit the fuck down.
It's
What?
a TV show, but I
Is
do
that a
like the
thing?
fact that it is specifically a TV show.
Demeaning television.
It's elevated the medium. Get out of here with your film talk.
That's so classist, it feels. Elitist, that's the right word.
I was very upset about it. I'm still upset about it. Still upset that BFI put it on a film list, even though I can see why they did it.
TV snobs.
Yes! I really liked TV this year. There's been a lot of good TV. I don't think I really watched TV until this year, which is why I was so excited to do a best TV list, because I've suddenly discovered television. Before this year, it was the only TV shows I liked were like Twin Peaks and Adventure Time.
Those
and
are
Rick and
good
Morty.
too.
Various cartoons and then Twin Peaks. Hello from the future.
Hello from the future.
From the future past.
We have flying cars now. No, we don't.
Yeah, this is after this is after we've talked about the film, but as the podcast ended up, or like the recording ended up being like 4 hours long.
We're hungry. I don't know what day it is anymore.
I don't know what year it is. What's happening? So we've decided to split it into 2 episodes. So this will be the end of our TV recording.
Tune in next time for favourite movies of 2017.
Yeah. Tune in next time for the past future, which is our favourite films of 2017. Thank you for listening to this half. Please stick around for the next half.
If you could bear to.
I'll probably post them like the same time. Thank you.
Thank
and good
you.
night.
Well done.
Goodbye.